Yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of Lifestyle After Five. This is a special episode today, y'all. So y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna let Ali take over. Thanks for watching.
Welcome, welcome. I am coming live from Pinnacle Bank in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice to meet the host, everybody that's out here in the audience, as well as those that are out online. So I'm coming here to preview my new book, Layoff the Lift Off, the tales of reclaiming your career path. So we're going to get right into it. How many of you all have a plan if you get laid off? Have anybody been laid off? And if you have been laid off, did you have a plan? Because it's amazing to me, layoffs with AI taking over. Oh, we'll get the screen going with layoffs taking over, coming out. Hold on, we're gonna get the screen fixed real quick, and then I'm gonna get right back into it. But we'll keep it going. Layoffs are intimate. It's intimate, especially as AI taking over. If you are a truck driver or you an admin, it's possible that AI will replace you next year. I was in Sam's Club the other day, and where you used to have a man person that's driving a little cart around, it's a machine, AI robot, pretty much driving a car all around the aisles by itself. So imagine that. And if you've never been laid off, let me explain to you what that's like. Have any of you ever been to the Grand Canyon? You know, it's like, I don't know, I'm going to say 15,000 feet high. But a certain part of the Grand Canyon, they got this cliff, this overhang, if you, what have you, that you walk out on, and it's glass up under there. And so as soon as you look down, you can see like 15,000 feet drop as you walking over this overhang of glass looking down. And as you walk, you can hear it crackling. That's what it's like when you got a job and you hear of a layoff and you don't have a plan. When you get laid off, when it cracks and you fall at 15,000 feet, that's what it feels like when you don't have a plan. So this is what this book is going to help you out with. You have a plan for, hopefully you have a plan for retirement. And if you don't, we're in the right place. We're sitting here at Pinnacle Bank. We got Sherry and some of the lovely hosts around here can help you out with that. And maybe they can help you out with the Layoff the Lift Off savings account. They don't have it yet, but hopefully that'll be coming soon. And I purposely don't talk about saving in this book, but it is something very important that as if you have a job and currently working, you need to be putting together some money to save. And of course, people at Pinnacle Bank can help you out with that. So who am I? I am Ali Sheikh Mohammed, aka some of you may know me as Kendrick. I am an author, obviously, of Layoff the Lift Off. I am a futurist and I'm a transformational coach. And I am the host of Lifestyle After Five podcast, which some of you may be watching and familiar with. Check us out on YouTube and Spotify at Lifestyle After Five. Now, what is a transformational coach? It kind of goes together with being a futurist. I am looking to transform your life and to help you reach your goals. Wherever you want to receive, you got to transform into that person. It's kind of like a resume. Do you have a resume? Is the resume you use to get the job you got the same resume you using for a future job? If so, that's an error. A resume is like a goal. It's the future you. You haven't reached this person yet. Your resume is a living document. It should change. The minute you get a job, create a new resume, because hopefully if you've been in that job a year or 2 years, however long, you've created skills. You have transformed into another person that will get you that promotion if need be. So why is now the time for this book and invest into yourself? If you haven't been watching the news, Boeing has laid off 17,000 workers, employees. I'm pretty sure they're going to need this book. And quietly, the tech sector had laid over 130,000 people this year, just in 2024 alone. That's not counting the other sectors and what the total number of people being laid off is. And I'm sure many of these people didn't have a plan. So some of you out there, well, that's why I got my own business. Can't nobody lay me off. But I'm sure there's 147,000 customers that may or may not be using your services as a business owner because they don't have the money. They're trying to think of how they're going to pay their rent, and then the holidays is coming up. So that's something to think about. Also, what is the scope of this book? I'm glad y'all asked. The scope of this book is to transform your mindset, create a structured plan, upskill your upskill your skills and your craft, and to set smart goals. And we'll talk about that later as we go on. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this mindset shift. Everything begins with your mindset. Everything. You must embrace the situation. You got laid off, you got called in, and they've delivered the news that you just lost your job. And I'm pretty sure there's a whirlwind of thoughts that's going through your head. How you going to eat? How you going to pay your bills? And what's going to go on? But embrace the situation. It is not personal. Now, it may be personal why they chose you, but layoffs is not personal. I don't think there's a committee of people that just sit around and say, I just want to lay off people just to be laying them off. It doesn't work that way. Layoffs are due to the economy. It can happen at any moment. The main purpose of a business is to make money. And this is why you have to have a plan. And it just happens. No one can dictate future shifts. Like I said, with AI, people are going to lose their jobs as companies take on more AI, and AI can do jobs smarter and quicker and faster and cheaper than a human can. Then it's going to be bound to happen. But let's use that energy to focus on the future. Because I don't know why we are conditioned to think backwards. We want to think about the past. Have you ever had that one person that got laid off 5 years ago and they are still mad and angry about it today? Let's reframe the challenge. You had a good run, whether you've done a year in a job or whether you've done 5 years from a job. Those are skills. And this is where we want to transform your mindset. Your mindset should be focused on skills, your skill set, not your job, because it is your skills that will make a way for you. And if some of y'all that believe spiritual and believe in the book, go to the book, it tells you your talents will make a way. So this is what we're going to talk about, and we're going to attack your mindset and your skill set, because that's what's going to make a difference. And we want to be positive. And as we talk about that in interviews later on, come on in. Yeah. We got Brian in the house. And he got a book in hand. I like that. Welcome, Brian. So just to reframe a little bit for you, you're going over the mindset and you understand it above everybody, the mindset. This man here was a victim of a layoff, and he was able to transform his layoff and started his own business as you are a innovation officer, and that works with a lot of projects and everything. So this is an example of someone that has transformed their layoff into a liftoff. But no, it is very emotional during this time frame, and you want to stay with positive people. You want to stay away from negative people because you don't need anyone bringing you down at this time. And it can be depressing, just depending on. And if you need help, reach out and get help, whether it's professional help or talking to a friend or so. Now, once we got your mind right and we got you in this positive mindset, and we're keeping you positive, and whatever you do, we'll talk about that in interviews. Don't go into an interview talking negative about the company or anybody. But I'll get to that later, though. Now, keep your mindset positive and stay around positive people. Now, the number one thing that we need to do is create a structured daily routine. I don't know how many times I have to tell people why that's important, but that is very important to have a structured routine, because what'll happen is you get laid off, and after you get over the depression, you want to go and apply for 100 jobs, and you're going to study, and you're going to do all this other stuff. So you wake up late the next morning, and then next thing you know, Michael from the office that you got laid off from is calling you to check on you to see how you doing. So you end up in on the phone with Michael for an hour, and then next thing you know, you got to go fix some lunch, and then you got to go pick up the kids. And then you forgot that you had the cleaning, this was done, and before you know it, you're tired and you hadn't gotten anything done, and it puts you into a pattern. You must have a structured routine, and it's got to be consistent. It's very important before you go any further than this. I start my day about 7 o'clock, getting up, getting my walk on. I do my walk on. Some people, you meditate, exercise, do what you got to do. You got your structured block of time that you're going to take for personal care, your structured block of time that you're going to use for job research, applying for job and for educational benefits, and you're going to schedule in your free time to spend with family, friends, or whatever you got to do. And you're not going to accept no phone calls during this time because at this point, your job is finding a job. And it's going to take, and it does the steps that we're going to give you in this book. It's going to keep you busy. And I call this a book, but this a workbook, but this is really a map, a road map that you need to get you to the destination of where you want to be. And even if you have a job right now, using these tips and tricks and will help you in your current job to get to the next, to get a promotion if that's what you desire, or if you want to go to another job. This will help you in that as well. If you're a business owner and need to work on your business, these tips, the scope will impact that as well. So as you can see, I kind of give you a rundown of what the book is and the structure and the format, stand, structure, the step-by-step roadmap to recovering, and key features, skill assessment, which we'll get into that next. That is one of the main things in this book. If nothing else you remember and learn today, it is about your skill set. Improving that skill set and keeping your skill set tight is the number one thing that's going to get you a job. People hire you for your skills, not you. They say build a better mousetrap and people will form a line to your house or wherever you are. We're going to show you a little bit about AI and where to go. We're not going to teach you AI. That's for something to learn, because as you move into the future, you really need to know how to use this. And then, like I said, you got proven outcomes, man, like Brian sitting here. Coaching. Now, I mentioned I was a transformational coach, and I told you that this was a roadmap. Now, math is only good if you know how to drive. Now, I realize some of you may not know how to drive. So we can help you drive to use this roadmap if you so choose to with our sessions. Usually we do 30-minute to an hour sessions and calls to help you get to where you need to be. Some people just need that accountability. They need accountability coach. Some people need to plan. They need help assessing their skills. Some people have a problem being honest with themselves. We're going to give you that honest feedback and help you and refer you to other resources if we can't help you. So when you combine this book with our coaching and lifestyle enterprises, you got a dynamic combination. Nothing's guaranteed, but I estimate you should probably hit your goals probably within 6 months if you focus and you're serious, if not sooner. I've used the same steps and techniques in this book to help me with my career progression and when I got laid off to find another job. Now, as you can see, enhanced skills as we go into the meat and potatoes of this book. You got to know where you at, and you got to be able to assess yourself honestly. We're going to show you, and we talk about tips in this book about how to leverage Chat GPT in particular. Now, there are some other Gemini and some other open, large language models out there, but I just use Chat GPT. Now, how do you know what you don't know? Now, you done got your positive mindset, and now you done got your structure together, and you got your days lined up. So now, the first thing to do after you get laid off is sit back and ask yourself, let's do a self-assessment. Was I really a good employee? Was I late? Did my job call for spreadsheets and presentations, and I was bottom of the barrel with them? I barely could do a spreadsheet. I barely could do a presentation. I didn't know how to use Excel. I didn't know how to use SAP or your program or Python. I was just barely getting by, or somebody would have to help me with the software. This is the time to be honest with yourself. Now, once you be honest with yourself, you need to pull a job description, your job description, find out what you should have been doing if you wasn't doing it within your job. And I'm not saying that you wasn't, because sometimes you could be doing a fine job and just due to circumstances, you were just picked to get laid off. And in that case, what job do you want? What is a career that you want to be in? I encourage you to pull 4 or 5 job descriptions. The current job that you are in and the job that you want, and I want you to research if this job gets phased out, what is something that your skills can parallel over into? Another job, another industry. This is something that ChatGPT can help you with and give you that feedback. Once you realize what skills you can use and you got your job descriptions, now you pull that current resume that you got and you bump it up against ChatGPT and these job descriptions. ChatGPT will tell you exactly what you're missing and why you won't get these jobs. You're lacking communication skills. You're lacking software skills. Then you can turn around and ask ChatGPT, well, if I'm lacking these skills, where can I get these skills at? Coursera, YouTube, LinkedIn Learning. I hope y'all have heard of those. If you don't, you need to write those down. Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, YouTube. Get a list of the skills you're lacking and what you need to learn, and have ChatGPT give you that list of courses that you can take. Now, YouTube is free. Now, there is a charge for Coursera and LinkedIn Learning. You can pay monthly or you can pay yearly, somewhere between $50, 30 to $50 between the two, and or you can pay for it a year. It's well worth it. And for some of you that have jobs already, certain jobs actually will provide Coursera or LinkedIn Learning. I had a couple of jobs that have provided this. But you want to sit down and structure your day, because there's some of these courses are like 40-hour courses where you may have to take 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day to learn it. You may need to learn a new programming language. Sit down with your pen and paper, whether that's 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever you decide, that's up to you. Because this might take you 4 or 5 months in some cases to get the skills necessary to go to that next step or to improve upon the job that you're already doing. Well, once you get that done and they give you certificates and everything, you now a much stronger and a much better employee that got laid off months ago. 3 months later, now you got skills that you didn't know that you didn't have before. You now have them. You're now ready. You now is adding these skills to your resume. And you're not only adding these skills to your resume, you are practicing these skills. You're getting better. You're creating projects. You asking ChatGPT and you looking on YouTube on how you do these projects. So when you get in front of that employer on that interview, you talking about the projects that you worked on. And you put that into your resume. You speaking boldly. Next, as you're doing this, you want to expand your network. That is very important. There's a hidden job market out there. You don't know who knows who that can help you. And besides expanding your network and just to get a job, sometimes you want inside advice on how a company is. You may be looking at this one company and you can find somebody on LinkedIn and they tell you how to, it may be a culture. They can tell you all about the culture, whether it's a culture you want to enter into or no, they got a lot of issues. You don't want to apply to that job. That job is a setup. I've had people that I've reached out on, strangers, when I got ready to do job interviews, that have taken the time and given me their phone numbers and told me to call them and have walked me through interviews. This is what you need to expect on the interview. And in this job and in this position, this is the type of software you need. And this is what we do in this type of position. We call that informational interviews. Those are good to have, along with giving you leads on jobs. Getting to know people. I love to friend recruiters and managers. One time, even if you in a company, you want to go on LinkedIn and you want to friend people on LinkedIn inside the company that you work to. I once went for a job interview and it was a manager I had never met in person, but he knew me through LinkedIn. He's like, oh yeah, I know him. We talk all the time. It was like we was friends. It wasn't a cold interaction as if I had never met him before. So take good advantage of networking. Whether it's out in person or if you can't get out in person, definitely get on LinkedIn. That's a must. That's Facebook for job seekers. Now, lastly, we talked about goal setting. How many people have heard of SMART goals? Because they say if you don't set a goal, it's just a dream. And we want to get rid of dreaming. 2025 is approaching. And we got to set goals and we got to achieve these goals. So we'll go into the SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant, and they got to be time bound. This goes with setting that structured plan up. because when you get ready to set your goal up, you want to tell yourself, I'm going to study for 2 hours a day, this specific goal, whether it's, I don't know, Excel spreadsheets. I'm going to study Excel, well, pivot tables, Excel pivot tables for 2 hours a day for the next 2 weeks. That's a specific goal, that's measurable, and that's achievable, and it's time bound. So in the end of 2 weeks, you should be, if the course is 2 weeks and you're supposed to learn master pivot tables in 2 weeks, you will be mastering pivot tables. And then you might want to start applying for 5 jobs a day. I'm going to research for another hour with the companies I want to apply to and the skills that's needed. Then I'm going to take my resume and I'm going to apply to 5 jobs with this particular industry. That's also breaking your goals down into manageable steps. So now you got a structured day. You already know what you're supposed to do tomorrow, each day of the week. And hopefully that brings results, tracking your progress. 2 to 3 months from now, you upskilling, constantly changing your resume. As you learning more skills, you updating your resume through this process. And then you tracking that process. And hopefully this should bring you interviews. You should have a goal, 2 to 3 interviews a week. That was my goal, trying to get 2 interviews a week. If I got 2 interviews a week, then I've done something right the previous weeks. Celebrate these small wins. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You're not sitting down depressed. You are taking action. And action is what gets you somewhere. Now, you done took all these steps. You done took action. Now it's time to prepare for the interview. Now, I was here before the mastermind group, and they said you're more trustworthy when you wear a blue suit. So yeah, as you can see, I didn't get my hair done. I had to rush over here. I didn't have time to get my hair done. But no, you must have tailored response because you don't want to forget that people have these great resumes, but they forget to practice for the interview. The interview is your time to shine and get up and speak in front of people. So you need to have your responses together and ready. Don't get up there and freestyle it. And you want to stay to your resume. Keep it. Your resume is what got them to call you. So once they call you, you know they like what they saw on the resume. Speak to the resume, give examples, and go deeper into your resume. Don't abandon your resume. I spent many years interviewing people that will get on an interview and have an excellent resume, get on the interview, and don't talk nothing about, speak of any example, anything that's on their resume. And I keep trying to lead them to the resume, and they just keep abandoning it. Now, some people lie, and this is how they can tell if you had a resume writer, which I am not a fan of that because you can have the most polished resume, but do you really know what's on your resume, and can you speak to that person? You hadn't lived those experiences. Some people are using ChatGPT to create resumes for them. They're just saying, create me a resume for engineering, and it will do it, but it's broad. And a lot of recruiters have caught on to that, and they're flagging that because ChatGPT is going to say, I'm expert at mechanical engineering. I've got 5 years experience of building projects, but it's not the specifics you would have if you actually did the job. Because as you actually did on this project, if a person was actually in that role, they would be able to say, well, I created a $30 million project based off the work that I did in engineering. I saved the company another 15 million. I created processes that cut hours off this project. ChatGPT don't know you like that, so it can't talk like that. And that's the way your resume needs to be. And this is stuff that you need to talk about with your projects when you get into an interview. AI will also quiz you for an interview and get you ready. And what I mean by quiz, you can prompt AI to act as a boss in whatever field that you in, whether it's accounting, I don't know, hospitality, whatever. And you can tell ChatGPT to ask you 100 interview questions on that based off your resume. Well, based off the job description is the best way. Take those 4 or 5 job descriptions that we got. You're going to put them in ChatGPT and have ChatGPT give you about 100 interview questions. So you're going to be ready and prepared by the time you get in front of this viewer. And now, this is a lot of work, And it seems simple as I'm breezing through this, but when you get through this and you're going through the emotional, it's hard to get caught up in the moment. But don't forget about self care. Self care is very important. You got to stay in shape. Don't sit there and drink yourself to death or indulge in ice cream all day. Keep yourself healthy and in shape. And like I said, if you need a mental health professional, don't be ashamed. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses because this is all about your life. If you need to drive Uber for a little while just to keep some food on the table, let your pride go. Do what you got to do to survive until you get another job. You don't have to flip burgers forever. This is temporary. Keep that in mind as you go through. So no, you have to balance your life. That's very, very important. Now, call to action. Embrace the journey. If you don't remember anything, layoffs are not, it's not the end of the book. It's not the end of the story. It's just a chapter in your life. Many of us have came to this chapter. You will overcome the cliff. If you've prepared and you have a plan, it's a springboard. It's not a rocky cliff, a shaky cliff. It's a springboard that you can use to catapult to the next level if you're willing to take that leap of faith to get into there. Like I said, check the book out. You can get it on Amazon. We actually have a Kindle version. For those that's in the audience, this takes you to our website. Here's our QR code that you can scan. The books look like this. Or sometimes if you don't, in our website, it also has our coaching. This website has our podcast, our coaching. You can purchase the book. We got shirts and our merchandise. Anything about us is in this QR code. Or if you're not interested in that and you just want to go straight to the book, this QR code will take you straight to Amazon where you can get the book directly. And even if you don't buy the book, it's just do me a favor and just go on Amazon and search for the book. It helps me with the algorithm and brings me up to the front. So it's easily found when somebody type in the title. Right now, it's kind of hard if you put in the title because you got to look at, I get buried under 100,000 books that Amazon is producing per day. So just do me a favor and just type in and search for the book from time to time. Check out our podcast. We got a lot of interesting topics and guests in there. And if you like it, at least give us a like, if nothing else, or a comment, or tell us you don't like it. Just, hey, what's up? My name is so and so. And if you really enjoy it, subscribe. We appreciate it. Now, this has been our proportion in time for questions and answers for those of you that are live with us. For those that are online, thank you for tuning in. I will get another version. We may do a virtual version of this later. But I am Ali Mohammed. This has been a pleasure. I want to thank Pinnacle and I want to thank Sherry for this opportunity. Did you have a question? If you have an okay resume and you don't get interviews, no one is calling you, then that means your resume is no good. You're not standing out against the competition. If you got a great resume, you will people want you. It's showing all your skills. And that's one of the things you have to know how to look for talent. And that's what this book will help you with. Quick story. Uh, I don't know if you ever heard of Russell H. Conwell. He wrote the book Acres of Diamonds. And the quick story about it, basically it was this African farmer that was out there that had this farm and people were out there. He heard of people, the Chinese coming over mining for diamonds. And people were all over Africa finding diamonds and getting rich. So he started thinking to himself, if I could just find a diamond the size of my thumb, I can be rich and I can sell this farm. So he sold his farm, went out searching all over Africa, sold all his assets and everything, looking for a diamond. Spent years out there until he finally went broke because he couldn't find no diamond that everybody else was finding. So he drowned himself in the river. Meanwhile, the guy that he sold the farm to was walking around and he noticed these strange rocks that was around there. It's like, what are these strange rocks that keep appearing all over this farm or whatever? So he went and had them looked at by, I think it was geomologists, looked at it and found out it was diamonds. This man had sold a whole farm full of diamonds looking for diamonds because he didn't know what diamonds looked like in his raw form. This is the way a lot of us do. We just applying ourselves and looking for jobs and stuff instead of taking the steps, learning and getting our skills together. This is why I tell you the job description is very important because this is what the company telling you they want. They want this from you. I want X, Y, Z, and I want somebody to be a master. I don't know, spreadsheets, presentations, good management skills. And I've seen it all the time when people come with resumes and talking about what they did at Walmart as cashier. And then, so what am I getting in? Well, you're not speaking to what they asked them. You need to come in there. If you need spreadsheets, oh yeah, because you have done the work with whether it's Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, YouTube, you're a master now at Excel. You said you need somebody to do Excel? Oh, well, shoot, man, took a couple of projects that I've done with Excel. I reduced the flow. I created a pivot table that's mean that can tell me the average cost doing business. And it helps save time and money. All I gotta do is plug this in, and it'll give me numbers right away. And I can create a spreadsheet and put that into a PowerPoint and a presentation within minutes. This is what employees is looking for. Somebody that's got skills that can come in there. Basically, you should be taking over the interview. When you should be mastering that job description. And when you come in there like you need me because I can do X, Y, and Z. Oh, y'all got what problems y'all got? Oh yeah, I've dealt with that. I can deal with this. But a lot of times people just barely make the requirements. They're not even focused on the job description. Oh, I did this in my last job, but because it's the same job, I've seen it where the same company can have the same position and the job descriptions are different. You must tailor your resume for each and every job description.
Well, it's more of a statement, and also know something about that company, correct?
Yes.
Because
depending on the level.
Yes.
Depending on the position that you're going for, yes, you want to know about the company. And if you're going for a director or CEO or VP position, you need to know the industry. They're going to ask you, what is the trends the industry is going into.
So how do you give advice on tailoring the resume for the trend of the job? Some things are going away. So you see new jobs populating based off of the trend of strategic partnership. That was some years ago. A project manager, Scrum Master, all that stuff. How do you tell people how to do the trend and to incorporate? There's no skill with the trend.
Well, first of all, you need to, and I've had to do that with certain things that I've looked at job description. I'm like, what is this? And then that's what Chat GPT and technology play a role at, and which is an awesome thing. People hate technology. It's a love-hate type deal, but this is the best time to, I say, be alive and have this. Because back in the 90s, and I've been coaching for a while, I used to tell young people back in the day, back in the early 90s, early 2000s, I was like, well, if you got an idea of what you want to do, I tell people join the military or go in the reserves because they will train you, get you the skill, and you will get hands-on experience, and then you can get out after your 4 years in terms, and now you got a career. You don't have to go in the military for that no more. You said strategic partnerships. The first thing to do is to go on ChatGPT, Google, what is a strategic partnership and what are they looking for in business? It's going to tell you, what are some examples of a strategic partnership? It's going to spit that out to you. And if you don't, give me some videos that I can watch and see what a strategic partnership. So that's going to trigger your mind. So they're going to be thinking, you know what? I got a strategic partnership. I may not have done it with companies, but I work in marketing, but I had a strategic partnership with the engineering team and manufacturing because I had to partner with them to know the design requirements before I marketed. And we would meet every other day, and this is how we would collaborate And this is how we went forward. So you see how to get your mind going. So now when you get in front of an employer for this interview, you got a bowl of stuff. You know what you're talking about now, and you got examples. It's a different type of motivation and vibe and feel now once you're in front of them versus beforehand, before you got laid off and you weak and you didn't even know what that was. You are now able to stand before them and speak with your chest out and speak boldly. Cool. With that, no more questions. You got one? No.
So one more question is, do you feel like that goes with experience, or do you think it should be one page? How do you feel about the one page?
Being that I've been in the shoes where I've been a manager, where I've looked at resumes and had to screen through it, I say no more for a regular job, no more than 2 pages, period. Because you got to think about it. Most managers busy. They're managing, they're running the company. We ain't got time to read your book and your resume. Page and a half, and get to the point up front. I don't want to read no bunch of stuff. I know what I'm looking for. Tell me right off the bat, do you have what I'm looking for, and why I can have it, why I should hire you. I want to know about them projects in that resume. I want to know how many dollars you can save, what percentage of waste you can cut out. I want to see that right up front when I'm coming. Oh, wait, because that's gonna make me pause and stop. I don't want to hear about what your hobbies are. My hobbies is playing baseball and spending time with my family, schnick, because I might have a stack of 30 resumes I got to go through. And I got a time limit. I may have 2 weeks to try to get somebody in. So that, that is Christian.
Yes. Is it truly supposed to still stick with what, 10 years? No less, no more than 10 years? Or
Yeah, they say that. I still stick to that rule, no more than 10
no more
years.
than 10 years?
I go a little bit further because sometimes I put my military in now. So I'll throw in, I don't put that in with the job category anymore. I just put Air Force veteran in there at the top, and talk about some of my experience. That way it don't date me. But yeah, stay with 10 years. People don't need to know what you did back in 1980, 84. You're dating yourself and you're putting age on you. And it's not supposed to happen, but it could cause you from getting a job. Yeah. Telling you worked for Xerox back in the 80s. No, they might think you're not adaptable. That's fine. We're in the question section now anyway. But yeah. All right. Thank you all. This has been a privilege for me, everyone. If you got a Pinnacle Bank near you, go out and support Pinnacle Bank, particularly if you're in this location in Charlotte, North Carolina. Come on out and support Sherry. Check us out. This has been an awesome experience. Thanks. Lord Shu, are you still with me?
Yeah, man. This was great.
We're still live.
Yeah, we still live. Just want to thank everybody who been watching. Appreciate everybody who been watching on Twitch, YouTube, and also on Facebook. It's a lot of people, so appreciate all the love. Y'all can scan the QR code to buy the book, and also on YouTube, it's in the description. Peace, everybody, and I'm out.
Email us. All right, thanks.